William show. You gotta stay woke. Listen up. Stay woke. DR.Michelle William show. You gotta stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. You gotta stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. You gotta stay woke.
Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. Happy Saturday. Is it hot enough for you, Walter?
And it's so hot outside. I'm just grateful to be in here, be in the studio, being able to bring our energy, bring our community good vibes, and be able to, discuss current events with our community. So it's a blessing to be here.
Sending all of our love from the studios, from DJ CEO, Mr. Daryl Johnson, and Miss Tampa Bay Tammy at In Touch News and Radio, where we're all reality stars. If you want to call in and participate in today's show, we're going to have a special guest that's going to be coming in after our first commercial break. This morning, it will be Attorney Life Malcolm. He practices in criminal defense, civil rights litigations, personal injury, and we're going to be talking about some of this racial profiling that's been going on in the Tampa Bay area in Hillsborough County, and we need to get in front of a lot of this. He does dibble and dabble a little bit in landlord-tenant, so if you're having an issue with landlord-tenant and you're living in the state of Florida, please feel free to either call into the show. We're going to put the number in. One of my followers, please put the number into the show, 813-444-9588 in the comments for me. And we're going to start off today, Walter. Walter and I take deep roots in this community when it comes to the homeless. And there was an article that just came out online, and it broke on breaking news day before yesterday, where the city of Tampa was disingenuous about putting in cooling stations where the homeless could go in and cool off, get water, refresh themselves. But they put it at Al Lopez Park. There's no homeless people over at Al Lopez Park. No homeless people are over
by the stadium.
Nobody is over there
Where homeowners are.
right. And not only that, where you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you have the Tampa Bay Rays baseball practice stadium. So there are no homeless people residing over there, and that was disingenuous. They spent all them. So what we need to do, I'm gonna go down to city council on Thursday. I ain't been down there in a couple years, so I'm finna show out on Thursday. I'm coming in with public request information requests in my hand to see who got paid. How much money were they paid to do that? Because they interviewed one homeless white woman, and the lady said she took 4 buses to get over there. 4 buses, using her bus pass that she gets every month. She used her bus pass 4 times to get over there. And then they only gave her, she said in the article, they only gave her 15 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. And for everybody who doesn't know, we're talking about the section off of MLK and Del Mabry.
Right. That's
our Lopez Park area.
Yes.
And you could drive by there any day, weekend, day, night, and you're never going to see homeless people over there.
Never.
The majority of our homeless people are either downtown population or East Tampa. Mm-hmm. That's where you're going to see an abundance of people who are living on the side of a highway or living in bushes, putting up tents, having law enforcement and writing citations for trespassing. But clearly no homeless people over there. And, we want to understand, why were they able to put cooling vents and spend resources and put it in an area where it's not needed?
Well, that's just her. She does things for glitz and glory. She knows she's termed out. She can't run again. So she's just doing things to put things on the book. And that's disingenuous. That's unfair to the people that it could. Because guess what? You know how many of the homeless people that we feed when we go to 40th in Hillsborough or down Nebraska. Why weren't these temporary stations put up at down Nebraska at the park? Why wouldn't they put up, with a type of agreement with a business owner to say, can we put the trailer right there? But you go and put it in Al Lopez Park. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many times we can go. And for everybody, we just want to let you know, because Michelle made a good point. When she said, I'm going to city council on Thursday is the open to the public where you can go down to city council. It's located downtown. You can Google it. You'll get a map question. It'll get there. But on Thursdays, from all day, from about 9 a.m. to about 2 p.m., you can go to city council, be a regular citizen, walk in there, hear some of the city council's agenda, but then they give you, at the end of each session, an opportunity for the public to speak. You have 3 minutes to go up there, state your claim, ask your question. A lot of times they'll answer, and a lot of times they'll defer the question. But, it's open for the public to, state real issues that are pertinent to our society and see if we can get an answer, or see if one of the council people will slide out and speak to you. So if anybody ever has a problem or wants to know how to get some good answers, City Council is open on Thursdays. Go down there. You're going to see a lot of faces that you probably see community activists or people who stand in firm for things. You probably even going to see one guy that just be down there raising hell.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday. Sometimes they remove him and tell him, listen, you've been too turned up today. You got to take you up out of here.
So listen, in other news, a judge in Minnesota sentenced a 72-year-old black woman to 6 months after a jury found her guilty of assaulting her white co-worker. A judge sentenced an older black woman to 6 months after a jury convicted her of assault. Sybil Garbrough, 72, said she acted in self-defense against her white co-worker. Garbrough lost her nursing job as a result and says she'll struggle to pay the $50,000 in restitution. Sybil Garbrough describes herself as a mild-mannered, non-violent, and dedicated nurse for more than 40 years. All of my references are good, the 72-year-old told Insider. I haven't had a physical altercation with no nurse until now. Now, Garbrough is preparing to report to jail. Last month, a judge sentenced her to 6 months, followed by 5 years probation after a jury found her guilty of felony assault. The judge also ordered her to pay more than $51,000 in restitution, which she said she'll struggle to pay without a job. She's due to report to Anoka County Workhouse, a minimum security correctional facility, on Friday. For about half of her sentence, she'll be back on to work release at the office clerk facility. From her arrest to her sentencing hearing, Garbrough said she felt that she was being treated differently as a black woman in Anoka County, where the population of more than 368,000 is 80% white and fewer than 10% black. If I'm the only person of color in an environment I'm not used to, it's because I've been here since 1973, Garbrough said. But it became obvious to me that I didn't have a strong position in this whole situation, and it was scary. Damian Drake, the executive director of the We Resolve, a local advocacy nonprofit helping Garbrough, agreed that the racial disparities in Minnesota may be playing a role in her case. Not only in Anoka County, but throughout the I like that. Anoka.
but just 2 things. One, well, 3 things really. One, we never advocate violence on this show. We don't stand for it. But 2, the first thing that jumps out at me is this lady is a healthcare professional.
A nurse.
A nurse has never been in trouble, and the only remedy that you have for her in this situation is to send her to prison.
Yes.
And the third thing is, how old do you got to be? The kid. When does the cutoff line to say you too old for us to send you to prison?
Yeah.
You're working in a retirement home, taking care of people your age, and there's no other place that we can put you other than prison.
Yeah.
Come on, Anoka. Come on, Anoka.
Yeah.
Come on, Anoka. She's 72 years old, and you saying we can't find no other alternatives for her getting in this squabble, so we got to put you in a woman's facility in prison.
Well, it's just it's just not happening in Anoka County. It's happening in Hillsborough County. It's happening in Pasco County, Hernando County. All 67 counties in the state of Florida is happening throughout the United States where racial disparities, like, for instance, let's talk about our backyard. The public defender's office only has a 2% winning rate, and they're not winning. They're only probationing people out, and the state attorney's office has a 98% conviction rate. So where is, but I'm gonna say that for when Life gets here, because I'm gonna take him all the way back to something he said. I had to remind him, Walter, who you were, and he was just like, did we do a protest for him? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were out there protesting for him. So it's just, see how God brings everything full circle.
You got a brother that's coming on this show after our first commercial break. He should be in the studio. That has an incredible story, has went through trials and tribulations in his personal life and overcame them and became a successful lawyer right here in Hillsborough County, and African-American lawyer too. So you already know how hard it is for the barriers for people of our skin color and in our walks of life, but for somebody to make it and turn a negative into a positive, man, we salute him, we praise him, we gonna support him. We want people to be able to trust in his business, that if you have somebody and they a criminal situation and they need a representation, he was the person that we would definitely advocate. There's other couple of lawyers that we would definitely advocate for. And it's just an awesome story to be able to have him in the studio in a little bit to be able to discuss his life and what's going on in our community.
Walter, there was something that caught my eye in newsbreak.com. A Tampa wedding photographer was sitting in prison because he refused to cooperate with the DEA of a 9-year-old case against his brother, who's an agent who got caught with his hands in the cookie jar, embezzling along with another DEA agent in Miami over $9 million in drug money. Fentanyl and cocaine that they put back on the streets.
Lord have
Those
mercy.
the real drug dealers now, but we...
What this is? Miami Vice down there? What this is? Did Jamie Foxx was down there? Did Jamie was playing in this movie?
So, and that article just caught my attention. They sent him to prison, sat in the Pinellas County Federal Holding Center for a year because he would not, he pled, they gave him full immunity, which means, see, people don't understand about immunity. Immunity means that you still have to testify.
Right.
But nothing happens to you. Okay. Mm-hmm. But he said, not only I'm going to take your immunity, but I'm going to be quiet. So because the judge said, because you was quiet, I'm going to put you in prison. I'm going to put you in jail. The man been sitting over there. So finally, some advocates started working on his behalf. He told the story, broke over, just the other day. And it just caught my attention. Like, we just refuse to do right by the justice system. Like Lady Justice, let me tell you something spiritually. Let me break it down before life gets here. Lady Justice that stands in front of the courtroom, let me take it back biblically, and I'm finna tie it in, and y'all gonna be like, oh my goodness. In the spiritual world, Lady Justice is also represented as Lady Fortuna. Lady Fortuna is the angel of wealth from heaven. But guess where all the wealth is? At that courthouse. Because that courthouse collects over $1 billion a year. $1 billion a year in restitution. So I see why she up there like this.
She definitely blind. She got a collection plate in one hand?
Look, she got that horn of plenty.
Oh, okay.
That's the horn. That's the go to Lady Justice in front of the court. That horn of plenty is filled with gold.
Yeah.
Cornucopia.
Yeah.
The collection plate.
That's a collection plate.
Collection plate.
So guess what? I blessed all my godchildren with? A statue of Lady Fortuna. Oh my God, children get a statue of Lady Fortuna. But that she is the angel, she's the goddess of wealth, but she also is Lady Justice. Also, and people have to understand, when you understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, you see that is the courthouse of the money. I'm telling you, life said something years ago, two things. I'm going to say one now and one save it when he comes in. But when he said that courthouse is a heartbeat, and we the bleeding veins, we the blood running through the veins of that heartbeat. Because guess what? If there are no defendants, no civil cases, no circuit county cases, no criminal cases, no probate cases, no cases going on, guess what? The blood ain't beating through that heart.
Right, that's true.
The blood ain't beating through the heart.
And I want to tell you this. I mean, me personally, have went through the justice system. I know thousands of other people who have went through the justice system. And when you walk in that courtroom, whether you walk in from the back as a defendant or you're able to go to court personally from, outside and coming and going from court, when you have to go in there and stand in front of somebody else and let them dictate the outcome of your life or just make decisions around what's going to happen for your future, it's just a horrible feeling, man. So a lot of the work that Michelle and I do is to advocate for our juveniles, our minorities, to not get caught up in the justice system. We fight for all race. Don't think it's just we fighting for blacks and Hispanics. We fight for all race, Indian, white, Bahamian. We fight for all race, but we also want to say and be real that juveniles and minorities, the blacks and browns, are getting sentenced. If you looked at my LinkedIn post that I put on there, it's statistical numbers that are being shown by the Bureau Institute of Justice that blacks and browns as juveniles are being arrested 9 times more than their counterparts.
Yes, they are.
So what are we saying for our children that, if you look a certain way or you dress a certain way that you're going to be targeted? that you're going to be stopped by law enforcement and see what they can do or find some charges against you or profiled. Like, we need to do a better job as a society, especially for minority parents, to sit down and truly educate our children on the dangers of the justice system and how easily it is to get caught up in it or be with the wrong crowd, and then you're just going to get circled in that drama with it, and then we're going to have to go fight this huge battle. So a lot of our work is to fight for our children, fight for our minority, but at the end of the day, we fight for all people. We don't want nobody to go through the justice system. We want to stop that heartbeat. We want to shut that valve down where we keep sending people through the system that's wasting time and money on their life.
That's right. And we're gonna keep beating the drum. We're gonna keep chiseling the coal, and we're gonna keep the pressure on until we get some diamonds. And that's a fact. That is a true fact. In other news, we have a Florida situation with a prisoner. Florida may never free this prisoner, but the court says one of his freedoms must be restored. Again, this is coming from Rockdale News, Newtown Citizen. Florida may never free this prisoner, but the court says that one of his freedoms must be restored. The inmate is Darrell Sims. He's an inmate through the Florida Department of Correction. It will be a long time, if ever, before Darrell Sims tastes real freedom. But an appeals court has validated one freedom: the ability to grow a bushy beard behind bars. So they don't want these men to grow their hair. It's not just with them, it's with the women too. That there was a woman that I know who had been growing her hair for over 30 years, and it was down past her rear, literally to her ankles, and she got sentenced to prison. And that's what they did. They chopped her hair off, but didn't tell her right that she had a right to send it back home to her family. But then Representative Diane Hart, State Senator Diane Hart, there's a law on the books that they don't even have to cut their hair because of their faith, because their religious faith. Right. She didn't even have to cut her hair.
Well, I would say this because the Department of Corrections wants everybody to be uniform. That's their main objective. They want everybody not to be able to stand out or look like you have some identity. It's more for a mental battle. You got to be suppressed this way, where you have to be clean shaven. But they can't. It changed, and I want to say like 2015, it changed where inmates had the right to grow hair due to their religion. And let's just keep it real. When you inside those walls, those Department of Correction officers don't care about no religion. They care about you gonna do what I say.
Right.
So I don't care if you say you this type of faith, I don't believe in it. You need to go to the barbershop and get a haircut. And the sad thing about it is, when you go into the barbershop to get a haircut, you using the same clippers as 900 to 1,000 other males are using it. So it's not like in the streets where I go to the barbershop and I'm getting 1,000 cuts, but they got the proper utensils to clean, sanitize, bleach down, and then get on the next person's haircut. In the Department of Corrections, we'll sit 900 people in this chair, and we got some watered down chemicals that's really not catching bacteria or fighting against things, and some people are getting staph infections, some people are getting all types of breakouts because they have to use the same clippers on every inmate's hair. Yeah, factual basis.
Well, we know that there's a huge issue, not just in the men's prison, but in the women's prison also, them not being able to have hygiene products, and them not being able to receive certain monthly products that women need for their menstrual cycles and everything. So we have a huge problem, but I do want to thank those representatives up in Tallahassee, like Representative Driscoll and Michelle Rayner and Diane Hart and so many more that are up there on Capitol, Dale Rousson up on Capitol Hill, fighting for the inmates in the Florida prison and the heat. We ain't gonna even get into that inside the Florida prisons. But guys, we're getting ready to take our first commercial break. Stay tuned to the Stay Woke Show with Walter Dunn and Michelle Williams, and we'll be right back.
Stay woke.
In Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio. We're playing your favorite old school. Smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Tell a friend to listen in. It's In Touch Radio, reality radio.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for ya. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Gotta stay woke.
Tampa Bay. Welcome back to the Stay Woke Show with DR.Michelle Williams, Walter Dunn, and guess who just came in the house? Attorney Life Malcolm. I done talked him up, guys. So let's give Life a huge, warm Facebook welcome, honey. Send some hearts. Live. Good morning. And
What's
thank
going
you.
on?
Thank
Oh,
you.
my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for coming last minute. I literally just spoke to you less than 24 hours ago, and you made it happen. And I just want to say how
It's my
appreciative
pleasure.
I am.
I really
of you.
appreciate the invitation for sure.
So, guys, I didn't want to tell you too much about my dear brother, Attorney Life Malcolm, but let me go ahead and talk him up. I'm a person, like, I believe, like my grandmother say, you give a person their flowers while they're living in their face, and that's what I'm about to do. I've done it privately. I'm doing it again publicly. This brother right here, I met him and Sister Connie Burton in 2008. And when I met him, I was so mesmerized because he did the poetry. He did the poetry every week. You know what I'm saying? And I as often as I could get there, I would go and support and be to everything that him and Sister Connie was having. And then when I seen his activism, I'm just like, my Lord, I ain't never seen a black man get out here on the forefront like that and was not afraid to tell the truth. And like, people were afraid of him, but in a good, you're supposed to have good, healthy fear. So that was the good, healthy fear that white America had for him. They just like, dang, we know he telling the truth. What we gonna do to try to, set him up or try to get him arrested or anything like that? When we was in that front of them courthouse, I think the most memorable thing that this beautiful soul right here said, in 2009, we were protesting, and that's when Sister Connie Burton had made that big old poster with all the judges' pictures on there and was calling them the real criminals. And Life...
I take credit for that.
Yeah, you made it.
I designed that. Yeah. I ain't gonna let nobody get no credit for nothing I did. I did that. Yeah, but anyway.
So Life... I agree. So Life took the bullhorn...
It was Sister Connie's idea, though.
Yeah.
It was her idea.
But it was your design.
My design.
Your blueprint.
Yeah.
Life took that bullhorn and said, let me tell y'all something. Y'all down here on the football field. The judges on the defense end, the prosecutors on the offense end. Ain't nobody in the middle intercepting the ball for you. You going in here just plead not to all these cases of and these injustices. I will never forget that because he called them ants. And I was so that life. I'm telling you, we are in 2023. And I have used that. I said, look, let me tell you something. I think Brother Clarence Ali Muhammad, he has it on his YouTube, that video. You got to go all the way back to 2009 though, but it's still there because he uploaded a lot of. That's one thing about Brother Ali Muhammad. He made sure that he memorialized our protests in this town to show the nastiness, the ugliness, the injustices that have happened. But this brother right here, when he said that, when he gave that football analogy, that stuck in my head because it is who intercepting the ball for us? Who intercepted? No one is intercepting for us, for real.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I do.
It's cool. You know, I'm just, you know, I do remember making some analogies. So the ant thing, I don't know if I called them ants, but I do remember saying that ants, like, you know, it was a time when Africans, at least in this city, weren't really motivated to struggle and organize and fight. And so what I did say was, like, and you know, this is right around the time I think Facebook and MySpace and those kinds of things were emerging, of course text message and whatnot. But what I did know was that, like, you could stick your finger in an ant bed,
right,
and all the ants coming,
right.
They ain't got Facebook, they don't have text message, they don't have none of that stuff. But if you stick your finger, if you violate, if you invade the ants, you know, the home, everybody coming, right? But you know, with a little bit of ant brain. But Africans, we don't have that same kind of response when they invade our community. You know, 2009, who did I mean, that might be right around the time 2009. Who did they murder in 2000? Somebody might have been Javon Neal. I don't know, somebody around that time, man. You know, and I was just like, there should be some kind of, just like the doggone ants, just rush to deal with. And I tell you what, you won't put your finger in there again after they deal with you. You know what I mean? And I remember that analogy. I wish I did come up with. I hope I did come up with that football analogy.
You did. If I
didn't, I'm gonna use it. That's for sure.
You did.
Well, like for a lot of our listeners and our viewers, tell them what you do Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, I wake up in the morning, cook breakfast for my children, and then I take everybody to school. And then I come home and get dinner ready. I'm a father, more than anything. But I do practice law. So, but that's not Monday through Friday. That's 7 days a week.
7 days a week. But the thing is, it's a blessed feeling when we could walk through and see you at the courthouse.
That's what's up.
Protecting people's freedom. Fighting for families. It's so many times, I have personally life and, our paths have crossed.
Of course.
You talking about 2009, that's, my finger was in the ant bed in 2009.
Right on.
I felt, there was nobody to intercept the ball for me.
Right on.
And I had to go through the justice system.
The injustice system.
The injustice system.
Man, listen, I apologize, man. I do that kind of thing. Just forgive me. Like, I'll just be trying.
But, a person or families never know how serious it is until you caught up in the system. And then it's not like proven till or innocent till proven guilty. It's you guilty and you better find a way to try to save yourself or you going.
That's 100%.
And
see it every day.
And it's like now since I've, got my case overturned and, came home, I go to court probably once a week or once every 2 weeks. And
okay.
I just sit in the back.
Okay.
Just to see how things are playing out because what I didn't know then, I've educated myself, self-taught law, and, authored a book to show families how to navigate through the criminal justice system.
Right.
But it's so, I don't want to say creep is the word, but it's just so scripted on you can dictate what's going to be the outcome of this court proceeding once these charges are read off.
100%.
I'm sitting in the back and they read something simple, you like, okay, that's probation, no matter how it's been out. Serious charges, I don't care what it is, he going. And right, wrong, or different, lack of evidence, just so many things that happen in the courtroom that the average family, they are trusting in people to represent them. And 9 times out of 10, the people they paying is the biggest criminals.
Yeah, I say this, man. I had to go to Jacksonville. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, for a client who he had a SVU case, like a special victims unit. What do they call it? Yeah, I think it's SVU, special. Anyway, it was a sensitive case. So I was in this courtroom where I had the opportunity to see all of these defendants, all these African. It was all Africans and mostly African men. I don't think there were any women. All African men, except for maybe a couple of Hispanic men. And these brothers, the first brother came out. The judge gave him. He pleaded to it too. The judge gave him 25 years in prison. It was a plea deal, and he ain't look like he was 25 years old. And I sat through about 17. I had to do a bond motion for my client, and I saw about 17 brothers and a couple, Hispanic, so-called Hispanic people go through that man's 17 years, 25 years, 30 years, and it was crazy. And then, like you said, you overturned and learned and what have you. So that was my morning. That evening, I'm sitting at dinner with a brother named Vonnie Wiggins. Shout out to Vonnie, man. He owns one of the biggest state farm agencies in the company, right? I mean, in the country. And so on the one hand, I'm looking at brothers who are going to prison for the rest of their young life, and on the other hand, in the next moment, I'm sitting with millionaires, right? And it's like it was so hurtful, the stark contrast between brothers who
going down a different path.
Not just going down, but just like you said, kind of getting railroaded. Like I don't want to
call it what it is.
I ain't gonna never change that. But I think that brothers just don't see any hope. When it comes to the courtroom. You know what I mean? Like you said, you could almost predict what's going to happen just hearing the charges.
For sure.
But then here comes me. And we changed that because the brother had a $100,000 bond. It's unreasonable. The brother never had a job.
Probably had a nebula hole.
No.
Okay.
This is SVU. So it was a sex crime, right?
Okay.
So one in nebula. It was just he had two what was it? Lewd and lascivious molestation charges. So $50,000 each. On about $50,000 and like $50,003, so it's like $100,006 for the bond. And this brother never had a job.
Can't afford it.
Never had a job. Didn't have no money. Lived with his mama. His mama lived on SSIs. Lived on Section 8. So the bond was unreasonable. And as you know, being a self-taught law student, that an excessive bond is tantamount to no bond.
That's right.
And in Florida, you have to have a bond.
A reasonable.
You have to have a bond.
Right.
You have to have reasonable bond conditions, unless it's a crime, unless you were charged with a crime punishable by law. Punishable by life, a crime that is a capital crime, or the state filed a pretrial detention motion
for a victim.
Pretrial pretrial detention is like Rule 313.312. Like if they filed a detention motion, then they can hold you. But a lot of people think, for example, like when you sit in court, you say you sit in court once a week, right? So you might see these failures to appear. And if I'm taking over, you want to
No. I'm looking at questions. I'm looking for questions.
So if there's a failure to appear, a lot of times the judge from the bench will say no bond, right? But the judge can't do that. Sua sponte, the judge can't from the bench just say no bond. What has to happen is that the state has to file a pretrial detention motion, and if they didn't do that, and so the pretrial detention motion triggers the judge to have a hearing that must determine whether there are reasonable bond conditions to release this, because Florida wants you to be out of custody. Like that's the Florida law.
But
let me just wrap this up. A lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean? And so they just take it. And so we don't see, you just see this despair. They just go to jail, man. Just go to jail, take a plea deal. But there are so many things that brothers like me can step in and say and do. And so trying to offer hope in a sea of hopelessness. I just wanted to wrap that up. That's the poet in me.
Not only has my life changed because of being self-taught, law, but my advocacy work and research, and I've told this in the first half of the air that the Vera Institute of Justice released the statistics that minorities, blacks and brown juveniles, are being arrested 9 times more than their counterparts. We can see our children are being attacked, at an alarming rate. And then, if you recently look at, things that are happening in our county, you go to court, that's all you see. Elijah Anderson wrote a book called The Code of the Streets. And, in this book, he artfully explains why minorities are the number one people that's caught in the justice system. the statistics and the data shown by Elijah Anderson, and you can Google the book, he explains that the system was built to design to keep a class of people from ever progressing.
Yeah.
The class of people
Yeah.
look like me and you.
You're right on.
Right.
So
Right.
if I can suppress you long enough, I can cripple your generational
Yeah.
outcomes
Yeah.
of your family.
Yeah.
So when you look at the Jews, or you look at the whites, or you look at, you know, the Greeks or other classes of people, you don't see the heavy load in the courtroom Monday through Friday.
Right. Yeah, right on.
When you go to the courtroom Monday through Friday, you are seeing 85% or greater African Americans, blacks and browns that's sitting on that defendant bench in orange, waiting their outcome of their life, and you know there is no hope. But we so grateful that we got brothers like you
100.
that will be savvy enough to understand how to navigate through the law.
100. You know, first and foremost, I'm a member of the African People's Socialist Party. You know, I represent, you know, the African People's Socialist Party every day. Shout out to Chairman Omali Satella and DC owner. And so, you know, what Chairman has helped me understand over the course of time is that the colonial mode of production depends, has always depended on the exploitation of African people, Africa, and our resources.
That's right.
And so, I mean, like I saw somebody say something the other day. It was like a TikTok or whatever, the reel or whatever. It's like we used to. Oh no, actually, it was Judge Lynn Toler who. Divorce court. She was. It was a clip of her. She was saying like we used to pick the cotton. Now we are the cotton. Ooh. You know. But I said, but when you talk about the orange jumpsuits, what I say is, you know, Florida used to make its money on oranges. Now they make their money on cats in orange jumpsuits, and that's 100. And so, but it's the colonial mode of production. Ever since they brought us here, they've always, you know, when I say they, I'm talking about the colonizers, you know, white people. Ever since white people brought us here, they've always intended to keep us working for them for free.
Yes.
You know, and you know they hate to pay us. As a matter of fact, when they gotta pay us, they wanna drug test us. They want you know, you gotta write this and do that. But when they work for free, you know, it was no unemployment when they had us working for free. Like, you know.
But like,
yeah.
I want to cut you off. I want to say this, and this is just so prevalent to this conversation. We as a society have to do a better job of educating our people.
Right on.
We understand what the hurdles are. These ain't brand new hurdles. These hurdles and barriers that have been affecting the African American and minority community have been around.
Right.
But where we fail at as a community is we don't educate our people. We don't gift you with the same information that you know. You sitting here being able to read off the 3.1, or you able to quote a statute because that's just your legal field. But our parents and our children and our community are not holding enough community events to educate our people, because guess what? If we want to slow down the justice system, if we want to start taking our people from allowing them to suppress us or make money or keep us in bondage, we got to educate them.
Right on.
We got to educate. We got to put the information available for them to know. Because if I tell you that if you pick up that gun and you fire that, or you have that gun and you show it, it's 10 years. If you fire that gun, it's going to be 20. And if you hit somebody, that's going to be 25 to life.
Yeah.
If I educate you and the people know, okay, we want to have this gunplay, but these are the consequences of it.
Right.
And this is what you're looking at. All the Michael Jordan tennis shoes, the girls running around, the big cars, all that, that's gone.
Right.
You're going to be in the Department of Corrections
100.
working for free.
100.
And you ain't never going to see life again for 25. Or I think when you start giving people the education, people start making better decisions for their life.
No doubt about it. But the thing is, I think that, so I've been arrested a dozen times, like literally a dozen times in 6 different counties in 3 different states. So I wasn't always like, no, I'm not no squeaky clean lawyer type dude. Like I've been a defendant. You know, matter of fact, I've been a defendant longer than I've been a lawyer. You know what I mean? And so the education. Like I got it. I went to Jesuit High School. I had an appointment to the United States Naval Academy. I went to the United States Naval Academy Preparatory School. I had education. I went to Morehouse College. I stayed in Thurman Hall. You understand? So like I had education. I understood like certain things, but these people, the colonizers have a way of even concealing this information that you said we need to reveal from even those of us who are educated. You know what I mean? And so you're right when you say that we need to educate our community, because like it is, you know, some people think they're smart. I mean, I got clients who are brilliant, like bright people. I have some clients who, you know, they some dummies. You know what I mean? They did some dumb stuff. You know what I mean? Straight up. I mean, no diss to the clients. I mean, they just young and dumb. Who wasn't dumb when they was 20? I mean,
Right,
raise your
right.
hand if you weren't dumb when you was 20, right? So I mean, that you got those, but you also have some people who just like living life, working hard, trying to make just don't know certain kinds of things. For example, whenever the police encounter you, what should you do? What should you say when the police encounter you?
What am I being detained for?
No.
Nothing. Don't say sugar honey iced tea. Don't say
nothing.
Sugar honey iced tea, right? And a lot of us don't know that. We get trapped in this, we nervous, first time, especially if you like a person who has a job, not out in the street doing crime, right?
Right.
First thing, you think that you can explain, because that's when I say they conceal the stuff.
Can be used against you in the court of law.
But when I say they conceal the stuff, I don't know. Like, I'm 48 years old. They came to the school with Officer Friendly, right? You remember that? They had a character like Officer Friendly.
Yep.
Yeah. And so most of us think that the police, people will tell you we need the police. Most of us think that the police are here to help us. So when the police show up, we start trying to explain like what happened.
And they taking mental notes.
Man, they're taking you to jail. At the end of the day,
Step aside over here, please, for a second.
Yeah, they're going to take you to jail, right? And I mean, just simple things like that. So, like, the education that we need has to come from us. And, people like you and I who've had that experience, on the other side of, but we can't take for granted that because, we're smart that we know the law, and a lot of people get jammed up real bad with that. So yeah, I don't know if that's
Stay woke,
helpful.
viewers and followers. We're going to take another brief commercial break, and we'll be back in the studio with attorney Life Malcolm.
Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Gotta stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Gotta stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. The DR.Michelle Williams show. You gotta stay woke.
In Touch Radio, where you can listen to a cruising flow of smooth soul and jazz, today's R&B, a fun touch of hip-hop and gospel.
All my music on one station.
Giving you a buffet of music, news, and entertainment. We're In Touch Radio.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
Hi, I'm Angela Birdsong, and during the week, they call me the Medicare lady. I help people successfully transition onto Medicare, sometimes Medicaid. I also help people with life insurance, long-term care insurance, and annuities. Please do not try to navigate Medicare without me. It's complicated. 813-476-4837.
Gotta stay woke. Listen up.
I'm broken.
Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. Welcome back to the Stay Woke Show with Dr. Michelle Williams, attorney Life Malcolm, Mr. Walter Dunn. We in the studio and we having a real community conversation about the procedures of the law, knowing your rights, knowing what to say and what not to say. When you're in the presence of the police, like attorney Life say, keep your mouth shut. Then you ain't got to worry about nobody saying, "Oh, the defendant said this and this alleged charge, that's being, waged against them." Just be quiet. Just be quiet. But during our commercial break, I was just asking Attorney Life, so I'm going to go ahead and officially make it. Starting next month in September, we are going to have 2 legal aid community events where we have Attorney Life in our presence, where you get to come in and you get to talk to him about, you ain't finna come in and overwhelm the man. Let me go ahead and stop and put it out there right now. You ain't finna come in and overwhelm the man. If you got a case that's going on and you need a bona fide attorney, one that's gonna go in and win for you, you need to make sure that you check those dates out.
I can't guarantee any outcomes.
Yeah, we don't guarantee an outcome, but he gonna be one that's gonna carry that sledgehammer.
Fight like hell, though. I'm gonna tell you that.
He gonna carry that sledgehammer.
I can guarantee you a fight.
Yeah.
If you want to win, I want to fight. So I can guarantee that.
Well, get ready for it because
no outcomes. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Here go a question. It says, our son is serving time, but there was no evidence that aligned with him with the crime. The report describes the assailant as a dark male with a beanie cap. Our son is light-skinned completely, and it was late at night. The weapon was never found. Our son had to settle with a deal but cannot appeal, or he would have received life.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the question is. What's the question? Is there a question? Or you just,
David, you want a question? You want to ask a question, David?
But I respond, though, by saying that, sometimes a deal makes sense. Sometimes a deal makes sense. Sometimes it does. However, fighting most often makes the most sense for 2 reasons. 1, if you don't fight, you can't win. 2, if you lose, you have a better chance on appeal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I don't mean to cut him off, but what he's saying is when you take a plea deal in the courthouse, your chances of coming back from prison is slim to none.
It's hard.
It's slim to none. When you go to trial, and let's just say you got 3 charges against you, and you go to trial, say you beat one, and then you get sentenced on the other 2, you have multiple steps that you can take from a post-conviction remedy to come back and try to get your case overturned.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even with a plea deal, you still have those options available. But when you take a deal, you are pretty much saying that you're guilty. That's what you most these days, especially like I told you when I was in Jacksonville, Duval County Courthouse. Everybody was taking deals, and part of the colloquy is, are you taking this deal in your best interest? Are you pleading guilty in your best interest and all that stuff? And so you saying, yeah, I did it.
But 2 things to life, and it's so crazy that you're saying this. One, I told. I was at Huddle for Change, which is a community event that they had with the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. I said at that time that Duval County is the 2nd leading county in the state of Florida that sends people to prison. Miami-Dade is 1st, Duval County is 2nd, and Hillsborough County is 3rd.
Hillsborough County used to be number 1, right?
I want to say this too. In November, at the National Criminology Conference, the national one, I got accepted to be a panelist speaker. Nice. And my research work will be explaining false guilty pleas.
Nice.
So I will be able to take my work and my research and explain to 500, 600 professors from all over the United States about false guilty pleas and how individuals are trapped in the system and how they are persuaded and directed to take a guilty plea. The state of Florida has a 98% conviction rate. And the reason why they have a 98% conviction rate, because 98% of the people plea out.
Take plea deals.
2% of the population go to trial. 0.5 out of that actually win and walk home. So in essence, the state of Florida has a 99.5% conviction rate. So either you're going to plea out or we're going to take you to trial, we're going to find you guilty of something. Only 0.5 of that population gets a chance to beat them all the way and go home.
0.5 right here.
0.5.
I went to trial.
Give them some hand claps.
I went to trial on January. I think jury selection was January 12th. January 12th, 2015. I was looking at 7 years in prison. And it was like a 5-day trial. Resisting arrest without violence, animal cruelty, felony animal cruelty, and bat Leo. So, looking at 7 years in prison. for those charges. And you know, I said, let's go. You know what I mean? And we went to trial and we won. So I didn't know I was part of the 0.5 club.
You part of the 0.5.
But yeah.
I wasn't part. I was part of the 2%. I went to trial. I lost. Beat the worst charge at trial, and 30 days later got sentenced to 27 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and that was in 2012.
Wow.
I got sentenced to 27 years. You do quick math, I would still be in prison.
You're 100.
But because I was able to self-teach myself law and understand and put the puzzle piece back together and figure out what was missing, I was able to walk back in Hillsborough.
And that's tremendous.
I was able to walk back in the Hillsborough County courtroom, had a doctor testify for me, and got my case overturned.
That's tremendous. And that started with the Fight Foundation. Though.
Right.
You had to fight.
Well, you know, most people, you know, they walk in the courtroom and don't have direction. They don't have a blueprint. You know, they're afraid. They're scared. They're losing time, money. Their freedom is on the line. And, you know, what happens when the ball don't bounce your way?
Yeah.
What happens?
It's scary.
Do you go off into a prison and just, you know, self-medicate yourself? Because 90%, I'm not saying 90, but half the prisoners in the Department of Corrections, you know, they use substance abuse because they don't want to look at their reality. I was that kid that got sentenced to wait to 25 years, so I might as well smoke and I might as well do whatever drugs I can get my hands on because I don't want to face that this is my reality for the next 25 years. Ain't no help in the Department of Corrections. Ain't nobody getting you some rehabilitation. What I want to do is I want to lay in my bed or my cell and get on some substance. So that way I don't have to think about the next 20 years of my life being in the same cell.
That's I didn't know. I haven't spent a lot of time researching these things, you know, that you have. So I'm learning a lot. I really appreciate it too. But, you know, one thing I would tell anybody is, you know, fight, you know. So, you know, I don't care if you get high and fight. You know what I mean? You know, just,
it's true.
You know, just straight up, man, you know, you just can't lay down. It's this system is organized in a way that you know, it's always a competition between the colonizer and the colonized. And if, you know, we owe it to our ancestors, we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our children, you know, to fight all the time, fight. And so that's my mentality. And I will say this too, man, like one of the things that I've learned as a lawyer is that crime is expensive, man. I mean, hey, like as a criminal, I learned that too. So the case I just told you about, I got in 2014 that went to trial in 2015, right? I went to a lawyer and he was like $10,000 for the case, and I was like $10,000, you know. And I had video evidence, I had everything. I knew it was an easy case. I mean, I had photos, videos, records, and I was like, it's easy, like $10,000, right? And I was like, no way. So I won the case with public defenders, mind you. I will say that. Shout out to the public defenders who do work hard to help their clients get a favorable resolution. You know, because, you know, call them public pretenders and whatever. But there are some public
There are some people in the
There are
building
some.
that want, you know, we do recognize that. There's some people that want to
who get down,
who want to get down and want to take it to the mat.
Yeah, and so, you know, so shout out to those public defenders who do that work. But I just want to say, man, like so I drive a lot. You know, I do handle cases all over the state, you know, all the way up to Columbia County down to Miami-Dade. So, you know, I do a lot of driving. And, you know, sometimes I go a little fast and I'm in the fast lane. But I got fast lane money. And I will tell you, if you don't have the money to be in the fast lane and get the ticket and whatever, don't be in the fast lane speeding.
That's right.
You know, and that's a metaphor and an analogy for saying, like, yo, it really, like, forget that idea of can't do the what do you say, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Look, if you can't pay for the crime, don't do the crime. You know what I mean? Straight up, because a lot of people think that it's cheap to hire good attorneys, and it ain't. It breaks my heart because, like Michelle said, Michelle said, she saw me on the corner with a bullhorn. You know, and loving, because I love African people, loving them so much that I would sacrifice my life for that. Now I got to tell them that, you know, I can't take the case if you ain't got $30,000, and I know they ain't got $30,000.
Wait. Let me cut both of y'all off because let's respond to the Garcia family up.
Sure.
And okay, so to David and Delia, Attorney Life Malcolm is a licensed bar attorney through the state of Florida. Bar attorney. They live in Clovis, California. But they were just asking, he says this pretty much, can they reverse since he can't appeal? And from my knowledge, the only way you can reverse something, you have to have new evidence or new supporting laws, federal and state, that may come out for the charge that he has.
I mean, there are several mechanisms specific to, it's going to be case specific. So I don't know I don't know what he's done. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this idea that he can't appeal. I don't know what the particular procedural posture is that has him at a juncture where he can't appeal. But there are several mechanisms, several post-conviction mechanisms that he can explore, but that would be case specific. So, yeah. And I'm not, again, Florida is
he's
where I
a Florida
practice law,
bar.
so I don't know what's going on in California. Maybe there's something there, I don't know.
I mean, every case is different because every state has different statutes. So we don't know what life is saying. We don't know what their post-conviction remedies is. In Florida, we could tell you, okay, if you take a plea, this is what's going to happen. If you lose trial, this is what's going to happen. Every state may be different. So that would have to be some research.
Are you familiar with the idea of can't appeal? Like I don't.
No, I mean everybody can appeal, but what people don't know is the time limitations that they put on defendants.
So that's what I'm saying. So I don't know where he.
But that's being told right now in Hillsborough County that if a defendant takes a plea deal that they can't appeal their case.
That's not true. No, that's not
we
true.
We know it's not true.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I just received calls last month saying, Miss Williams, my son got sentenced and they we can't appeal the case. I'm just like, well, every defendant is
unless it's a financial restriction, and even then you can hire, not hire, but get appointed a public defender from the appellate court. Like if you want to appeal,
but you have to apply for that. That's not given. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So I'm saying like there's a way to appeal. So I don't know why they say they can't appeal. Maybe they.
When we have our first community lab, I'm gonna have those parents.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have those people to come into the community to tell
how
you
to
about
navigate through the criminal justice system. Authored by Walter Dunn. If you are a person who has never been through the justice system, you got a loved one that's currently in jail, incarcerated, on probation. And trying to figure out how they can get home. I authored a book, Life.
I'm trying to get it too.
How to navigate through. It's in the trunk. How to navigate through the criminal justice system, which will gift you with the blueprint on what you need to do to get home, to get back to freedom.
That's what's up.
Yourself.
That's what's up.
You may need a mouthpiece at the end of the game, if possible, if you get back into court. But knowing what you're available to file and how to go through it, I've authored a book because that's how I had to learn it.
That's powerful, though. I mean, like post-conviction, man. Like, so again, talking money, right? Like post-conviction cases, if you ain't got $30,000, $40,000, and I'm thinking that might be on the cheap end, for post-conviction, depending on how old the case is, depending on the severity of the charges. But $30,000, $40,000 is probably gonna be the baseline for a post-conviction case.
Well, we know when I'm life and a lot of, I know you don't know my complete story, but I became like the powerhouse lawyer when I was in prison. I came to the jailhouse lawyer, and I got people out of the prison while I was in prison. I was able to file the paperwork, write it, articulate, find the issue, and then put it in writing, and then get you back in court. And I've gotten people out. I've changed people's life on probation, but because there were some felonies that closed before I could get my case overturned, I'm going to be forever branded a felon.
Right.
So the hurdle for me to go on and be a lawyer just came a little bit harder,
Okay.
But to be able to do the work, I got books of people's lives I've changed legally. So I understand it. So, a lot of the lawyers, I can't say I'm a lawyer because I don't have the bar number. I can't go on. But, there are some people that try to bring me in and maybe look at cases from a different perspective and see if there's things that I could find that maybe they not. Like some attorneys, you deal with front-end law.
Right.
I know how to go in this courtroom, fight for your life. I can know how to maybe get you out on pretrial detention. I know how to maybe get a bond drop. I know how to maybe file the motion to suppress, get things dropped. But most attorneys, if they don't specialize in post-conviction law, most attorneys are lost and they got to look for somebody to help them.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying?
Straight
So, that's kind of like I'm not a front-end law guy. I'm a post-conviction law.
Yeah.
I like the battle of taking the puzzle piece and finding the piece and putting it back together to get you back into the courtroom.
I've had to handle some post-conviction cases throughout my short time of practicing. I want to make. People know. You can look me up. I ain't been practicing, but a couple of years. Secret. So I'm just saying. So during my short career as a lawyer, I've had to deal with post-conviction cases, and the reality is they just cost money. Like you have to. Some of these cases were, started in the 90s. You got to go
research
straight up and
paperwork,
and they filed all these.
They procedure history is as long as from here to 4th Street.
And straight up, man. My hourly rate alone, or my assistant's hourly rate alone, is going to make it impossible to do the case for a little bit of money. And
but you know what the difference is, life, and I'm definitely gonna say this on
go
air.
Ahead, do it.
I met, especially in Hillsborough County, from me going through the justice system. I met a lot of attorneys, life, that they heart ain't in it. They heart ain't in it. And one thing I can say about the people that I know you, and from seeing you personally in the courthouse to even hearing you speak at tea and conversation, I know your heart is invested
100.
in our community.
100.
I know that when you in the courtroom, I've been in the courtroom with you. I've been in the courtroom sitting in the back and watching you up there, doing your 1-2. And I can at least say on air in front of our community, his heart is in it. His heart wants to see a positive and favorable outcome.
100.
His heart doesn't want to see your child or your loved one be suppressed or in bondage or sit down to the Department of Corrections for years. So I can at least say on the record, man, like I've met 1,000 attorneys, and I don't have respect for attorneys. I don't have respect for them because I know what type of game it is. I know it's a financial game.
100.
I know it's you'll take my mama's money or you'll take my money, and at the end of the ball game, instead of trying to score a basket, you'll go to the state's attorney side and try to figure out what's the best way we could plead this case out and move forward after you took thousands of dollars from family members. And I'm not the only one. So my respect level for attorneys is not, it's to nil. But there are a few attorneys that I can say I appreciate that their heart is in it because I see it with my own eyes.
100.
I see the fight. I see the litigation. I see the challenging of the judge or the state. I see the frustration when an outcome don't go your way in the courtroom and you already thinking about the next move.
Yeah.
But I also see the real side of attorneys that they go in there and it's a role play for them. And they often refer to it as kangaroo court because we know what's going to take place.
Man, I just want to say this, and I appreciate that, and because and that's real. The family that I helped in Jacksonville, this brother had been in jail for a month on this $100,000 bond with public defenders. They didn't file a bond motion. They should have filed a bond motion. And so the family hired me. I appeared for the limited purposes of filing a bond motion. I finally got it on the calendar in Duval County. They were talking about, Zoom had to do this and that. So I left. They set the motion hearing on the calendar on like Tuesday. I drove to Jacksonville Wednesday morning to be there. 'Cause they said if I didn't do it on that Tuesday or that Wednesday, he would have to be in jail until the next Tuesday, or they couldn't hear the motion until the next Tuesday. I'm not gonna let him be in jail for another week. I drove to Jacksonville. And he got out the next day.
Praise
you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do, man. Like, I really do love the people. Well, if I cut deals with the family. You know what I mean? Like, I just love the people, man. I'm very, happy that I'm in this position to be able to help people like I have been able to help, man. So far we winning, man. We ain't lost it. I know some losses might come, but right now we winning, man. And that's the thing that that I want to do, man. I want to see us win together. And if I can help, man, holla at you.
Listen,
boy,
we wrapping it up here. Listen,
Yes.
we are so grateful to have Life Malcolm on our show today. You probably can catch him. You can see him at the courthouse. You can get his information. But man, Malcolm,
He has his own show here every Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
the
Every
Life
Tuesday
Malcolm
with
show.
DJ.
Yeah, the
Right,
Life
that's
Malcolm
right.
show.
The Life Malcolm show.
Every Tuesday. But we're gonna give him some publicity every month on this show
No,
right
that's
here.
right.
Stay woke.
Oh, I want to say this before we leave. If you need some prayer, Dominion Life Church on Florida Avenue. Come this Sunday, man, to get some prayer, get some kingdom praise.
Florida and
in your
what?
life.
Florida and what?
Florida. I had the address, but it's you can go to my Facebook.
Okay.
Walter Dunn, Dominion Life. You can come to the church, man.
Got it.
Get some praise under Pastor Terrence.
Right on. Appreciate that.
All right, guys, we're out. Happy Saturday again from the Stay Woke Show. Dr. Michelle Williams, Attorney Life Malcolm, and Mr. Walter Dunn III. We'll see you next week.